So I found some training blocks. Each block has several videos, and you go through them, progress through. I've already played this one particular map showing this this starting paragraph or a couple of paragraphs, and I said, holy crap, this is on point. So I decided to make a little video of it and share it with y'all. And when I post it, I'm going to post a link to the training blocks, give the author original credit and stuff like that. So far, it's fabulous. We got good reviews on Reddit, which is where it was originally shown to me as well. So we'll see how it goes.
Welcome to the Field Flight School for the FA18 Hornet. The goal of this course is to take you from zero experience all the way up to becoming a competent pilot in the field. Each lesson will build on what you learned in all previous lessons, so be sure to take your time and master the skills showcased during each flight, as it will generally be assumed that you know how to do those things on your own once a topic has been covered. Before we can do any of that, however, we need to get this Hornet relocated to FA18, which is located near the ground attack training area we've set up for the course. The aircraft is on loan from the Stennis, and they dropped it off here last night, so it's up to us to get it there. Unfortunately, FA18 has been closed to traffic for non-essential personnel until this evening. It would be a shame to waste a training day completely, so let's go over the cold start and shutdown procedures for the Hornet, then you can practice on your own to get familiar with the procedure so we can get a quick start for our flight tomorrow. You should have gone through the official cold start procedure during your basic flight training, but that process is a bit long-winded for my taste. I'm going to show you a down and dirty quick start procedure to get us into the air as quickly as possible. To get started, look down at the panel to your right, check that both the generator switches are on, then switch the battery to on by right-clicking it once. It's going to get pretty loud once we start turning things on, so let's go ahead and close the canopy. On the right side of the cockpit, hold down the canopy switch with the left mouse button until the canopy stops moving, or just press the keybind, Ctrl+C, and it will close automatically. Once the canopy is fully seated, look to the left-hand panel by your leg and look for the APU switch near the throttle. The auxiliary power unit is a small onboard generator that helps spool up the engines to get them running. Go ahead and switch that on now with a right click, and the APU will begin starting up. We can't really do anything with the engines until the APU is fully powered on and the light next to the switch is green, so we'll take care of a few other things while that spools up. We're going to need oxygen up there in the clouds, so look back to the aft end of the left panel and switch on the O-bogs with a right click. Moving up to the front of the left panel, verify that the anti-skid switch is set to on, and the carrier bypass switch is set to field. If the carrier bypass switch won't stay on field, ignore it for now. Just to the right of that, set the flap switch to half with a right click. Moving aft down the panel, set the lights master and position lights knobs to 100% by holding down the left mouse button over them and dragging the mouse straight up until the knob stops moving. For this flight we won't really need lighting, but it's a good idea to be in the habit of checking them and adjusting them appropriately for mission conditions. The APU should be ready to go about now, so verify that the light next to the switch is green and then toggle the nearby engine crank switch to right by right-clicking it.
So I don't know if there's going to be another color, but I can see that the light is on. It looks yellow to me. Being colorblind is awesome. It's a dirty yellow, so it's a greenish yellow. We'll see. No, yellowish green. Haha.
Set the right throttle to idle by pressing the appropriate keybind, R-Shift plus Home. You would normally wait until the engine RPM was at 30% to do this, but this is a quick start procedure and we need to get going. After the throttle is set to idle, set the left MDI in the upper center panel to day by right-clicking it twice. Now set the right MDI to day in the same. The lower middle display is called the AMPCD, and it has a brightness knob just above the screen. Set that to 100% in the same way. Just above and to the left of the AMPCD brightness knob is the HUD brightness. Find the bleed air switch on the right-hand panel. This switch is separated into two parts, a push button on the top and a rotating switch on the bottom. Rotate the bottom switch clockwise with right clicks until it comes all the way back around to norm. Aft of the bleed air switch, find the INS switch and set it to GND with 2 right clicks. There's not much else we can do until the right engine is finished spooling up, so once the MDI screens are turned on, let's get them set up for takeoff. On the left MDI, press the menu button until the text above it reads SUPT. Now press the push button for CHKLST to bring up the checklist page. Now press the menu push button for the right MDI and press the push button next to FCS. The AMPCD should have a countdown in the bottom third of the display as the navigation system completes its alignment process. If the map overlay has appeared and you can't read the text, press PB3 on the left side of the screen until it disappears. The standard alignment process can take quite a while, so rather than waiting for that, we're going to speed things along by using the previously stored heading from the last flight. By this point, the right engine should be at about 60% RPM. Let's crank the left engine with the engine crank switch. Set the left throttle to idle by pressing the appropriate keybind, Alt plus Home. We need to clear out the flight control system of any errors to get a clean status update of the system. Near the throttle, find the FCS reset button and hold it down for at least 3 seconds. Just to the left of that, hold down the T/O trim button for at least 3 seconds. This will automatically look back up at the MDI screens and take a look at the FCS page on the right-hand display. Verify takeoff trim has been correctly set by checking for 12s and 30s on the FCS page on the right MDI and confirming that there are values of 12 for the LEF and STAB and values of 30 for the TEF, AIL, and RUD.
Nope.
Go back to the lower right switch panel and find the radar switch. The radar won't actually start sending out radiation until we're in the air, so there's no danger to anyone on the ground by turning it on now. Switch the radar to OPR with 2 right clicks. The FLIR is an onboard system that can be connected to an optional targeting pod that provides guidance for various weapon systems on the Hornet. It takes a while to warm up, so let's get in the habit of turning the system on during startup so we don't end up with it being unavailable at some critical moment. The switch is located just forward of the radar switch, so go ahead and toggle it. For night flights, you'll need to adjust cockpit lighting as desired, so have a look at the various knobs just to get familiar with them, but we won't need them for this flight. The wings should already be unfolded, but you should always check this before taking off. Once all that's done, go ahead and arm the ejection seat using the lever on the right side. The Hornet has a physical countermeasure system in the form of chaff and flares that helps to avoid being hit by missiles, but we have to turn the system on before we can use them. At the very bottom of the center console behind the stick, find the dispenser switch. In addition to the physical countermeasure system, we're also equipped with an electronic jamming countermeasure. The switch for it is located just to the right of the dispenser. Set the ECM switch to receive with 3 right clicks. Perhaps the most important system is the radar warning receiver, which provides information on other aircraft, and more importantly missiles, which may be targeting us with their radar. There is a small row of difficult-to-see buttons just below the AMPCD display that controls the RWR functions. Find the one labeled ALR 67 power and press it. Now let's turn on our navigation radios. TACAN is a radio navigation tool that allows you to home in on a specific radio source and use it to get where you're going. It includes several functions that allow you to do some pretty advanced navigation techniques, but we'll cover those in a later lesson. Still, it's a good habit to go ahead and enter the destination TACAN frequency prior to takeoff, if your destination has one, so you don't have to do it later while in the air. On the UFC, Press the TCN button so we can set up our TACAN frequency.
Alright, so I think the TACAN that we're going to go for is, I think that one's TACAN. I think so. We'll see. But anyway.
Using the numbered push buttons on the UFC, enter the TACAN code for Vatsiani, 22, then verify that there are 2 vertical lines next to the X on the UFC menu. Keep this step in mind because each frequency can be used in both an X or Y mode, so this setting makes a big difference. Once the UFC reads 22X, go ahead and press the ENT key.
How do I make it say X? And verify that there are 2 vertical lines next to the X. 2 vertical lines next to the X, okay. So it's 22X. I don't know why that, whatever. I don't know how to tell if it should be X or Y, but we're going to go with what it says.
Although we've entered the information, the TACAN won't be active until we turn it on.
Ooh.
Hold down the on OFF button on the UFC until the display reads on. The Instrument Landing System, or ILS, is a radio tool that allows us to get precise landing information so we can approach the carrier in less than ideal conditions. The system only works with aircraft carriers, however, so we won't be able to practice with it until we relocate to the Stennis. Still, let's start forming good habits now by setting up the frequency for it. Since Vatsiani has no ILS frequency, we'll just use the frequency for the Stennis. Go ahead and press the ILS button.
That must be what this is. The ILS radio frequency. Okay. I don't know if that's the one we're going to set it to, but...
Enter 11 using the number keys on the UFC, then press the ENT button. As with the TACAN, hold down the on OFF button on the UFC until the word on appears in the display. The Hornet contains software that helps you classify targets as friendly or hostile, known as the IFF. It's another system we have to turn on, so press the IFF button to select it. Hold down the on OFF button on the UFC. Next up is the data link, which is an onboard communication system that relays radar information from other sources to give you better situational awareness. Press the D/L button and hold down the on O. You would normally set up your radio frequencies at this point, but that is covered in the next lesson, so we'll skip that for now. Just remember to do it when you're on your own. Verify that the NWS appears on the HUD, indicating that your nose wheel steering is on. If it isn't, use the appropriate keybind to activate it. Now we wait for the quality indicator on the AMPCD to read 0.5 with a big OK next to it. If the map overlay has appeared and you can't read the text anymore, simply press PB3 on the left side of the screen until it disappears. The IFA setting for the INS will use GPS rather than onboard systems as the primary means of navigation, which is far more accurate. Once the quality is OK, turn the INS switch from GND to IFA with 2 right clicks.
Okay, so first we're going to turn on nose wheel steering. That's probably not set. So we'll search for nose. Clear that. We're going to set it to the same thing that I have on the F16. And now our nose wheel steering is on. And we can hold it for high mode. Okay, cool. So that's the first part. Verify nose wheel steering. How do we have to go back off? Is it A? Yes, okay. So I think Actually, I want this to be that. So we can... Nope. We do not want it as that. How... that'll be fine. This is good. Now wait till we have a quality indicator. If the map overlay has appeared and you can't read the text anymore, simply press PB3 on the left side of the screen. Probably this one. Alright. I guessed it was 3 because stop moving. 1, 2, 3 on the left side. So AMPCD. I don't see an AMPCD on here at all, Leo. Oh, quality. Okay, alright. And then... INS. Set to from ground to IFA with 2 right clicks.
Verify that the APU has turned off, then release the parking brake by left-clicking on it.
Which one's the APU, homie?
And that's it. Though for this initial run-through of the startup procedure we still took quite a bit of time, as you memorize the process and get it down, you'll be able to breeze through the process much faster than the official version. Since we can't get out of here today, we need to go ahead and get the aircraft properly shut down and put away. The process for that is considerably shorter, so let's go ahead and get it done. Set takeoff trim by holding down the T/O trim button for at least 3 seconds. Turn all the lights off by holding down the left mouse button on each one and dragging them down until they stop moving. Then set the parking brake by left-clicking on it and then pulling it back with the mouse wheel. Turn the O-box off by left-clicking it. Left-click the INS switch until it's set to off. Left-click the radar switch until it's set to off. Turn the radios off by holding down the left mouse button on each one and pulling it down until the display below it turns up. Turn off the TACAN by pressing the TCN button, then holding the on-off button until it shuts up. Open up the canopy by either holding down the right-click button on the switch. Disengage the nose wheel steering, NWS, by using the appropriate keybind. Then set the flap switch to full by left-clicking on it once. Turn off the left engine by using the appropriate keybind, Alt+N. Then turn off all displays by reversing the procedures we used to turn them on.
I did home. Oh.
Turn off the right engine by using the appropriate keybind, Shift+N. Now turn off the battery to complete the shutdown by left-clicking on it once. And that completes the shutdown procedure.
I mean, it still
We're
sounds
done
like
for now,
fun.
but you're free to spend some time practicing the startup and shutdown procedures so you can get them down for a quick startup for our flight this evening. You can also access the practice session for this from the lessons menu. Report back here at 2000 so we can get over to Vaziani by the time they reopen and get the aircraft put away for the night.
Alright, so I guess that's the startup. Excuse me. Okay. Found the eject button. I knew what it was. I was just being silly. I don't think I'd be standing right here if the jet was actually still on. Alright. Well, let's... Oh, I can't do it again because I ejected. Alright, I'm going to stop the video and well, I'll see if there's another one that's a bit more useful or entertaining. But it's pretty elaborate. It does go... There are some spots where there's a whole lot going on and I'm not sure what things are. Like the whole TACAN, press and hold it until it says on. I didn't know where I was looking for it to say on, and then I figured it out and I went back and I fixed it. But yeah, little things, and I guess that's why earlier in the video it says, or in the training portion, whatever, it's like, hey, you know, do this because once you move on to the next one, it's going to assume that you have all this knowledge already. So it builds on the past lessons. So I don't think I want to continue on to the next one until I can do a cold startup. But the server that I typically play on has a warm or hot startup, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it now because these, well, we'll see. That's where I'm at.